go ahead and start out. We'll start out actually coming to lie on our backs. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gentle Yoga. And my name is Micki. Oh, good. We have someone else joining us too. Hi there. We're just getting started. So welcome. And if you have, I'll go over some of the props that might be helpful. So if you have a tennis ball, that could be helpful. But if you don't, that's okay. We'll just do a little bit with that. If you have blocks or anything you can use as a block, if you have a strap, that can be a nice assist as well. And then maybe a blanket, and that can help for like padding the knees. So we'll go ahead and get started. And one of my favorite poses to start out class in is called Constructive Rest Pose. So if you want to just make your way onto your mat, you can have some of your props handy, but you won't need them for this first pose. So you can walk your feet as wide as your mat, allow your back to rest on the mat, and then allow the knees to tent together. You might allow your arms to rest at your sides, or even bring your hands onto your belly. If it feels comfortable, you can close down the eyes or soften the gaze. Just allow yourself to arrive in this present moment. Allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears. You might begin to imagine yourself either on a sandy beach or in a grassy meadow, whatever feels most relaxing for you. You might just imagine the impression your body is making on the earth. Allowing yourself to feel held and supported. You can feel the earth rise to support you. And you can feel the hug of gravity holding you to the planet. And I love to start class with the idea of setting an intention. So if you have a specific intention for class, you might bring it to mind. But I'm also going to offer a suggestion. So this month, this whole year, I've been taking a deep dive into yoga's ethical practices called the yamas and the niyamas. And the yamas are yoga's instructions on how we should interact with the world. And the niyamas are yoga's instructions on how we can interact with ourselves. So for the month of July, I'm focusing on the concept of santosha. And santosha is the second of the 5 niyamas. It's also known as contentment and gratitude. So I have some quotes from this book called The Path of the Yoga Sutras by Nikolai Bachman. True inner happiness rests upon feeling content with who we are right now. Santosha, which is the second of the 5 niyamas, is being grateful for what we have and content with who we are and where we are in life. One aspect of contentment is being unattached to the results of our actions. So if this idea of santosha or contentment speaks to you and you'd like to work on cultivating that during your practice today, you can set that as your intention. But if there's another intention that speaks to you, You might imagine as you're lying there that your intention is like a glowing orb. And just allow that glowing orb to plant itself at your heart center. You might notice that it has a certain color. Or you might assign it a certain color. And with your inhale, allow that glowing color to grow throughout your body. And with your exhale, you can allow the color to deepen. Go ahead and take 3 more rounds of breath like this. Inhaling to glow the color brighter and exhaling to deepen it. And from our constructive rest pose, we're going to invite a little bit of movement. So you can release any thoughts of the future, any plans, any thoughts of the past, and allow yourself to be present with the body. Let's release the hands out to the sides. And on the next exhale, you can allow the knees to come over to the left, maybe turning the gaze over to the right. Inhale, we'll bring the knees back to center, and exhale, switch sides, allow the knees to float over to the right, and the gaze might float over to the left. Go ahead and follow the pace of your own breath, inhaling and exhaling, and finding some gentle movement, just noticing the sensations in the body. If there are areas of tension or holding, you might direct your breath into that area. Let's go ahead and take one more round on each side. And then we'll meet up in center when you're ready. And if you have a strap handy, this strap can be helpful for the next move. So we're going to draw the knees into the chest. And you can wrap your hands behind the back of your thighs. But if you find that that's creating too much strain in your chest, or you can't quite reach, here's where a strap could be helpful. So you can wrap a strap behind the back of your thighs, just to give yourself a little bit more room. Once you draw the knees into the chest, you might roll the nose up towards the knees, finding a gentle stretch through the back of your neck and the upper back. And then exhale, you can release the head back down and gently rock a little bit side to side. Let's start to make some circles with the knees. So you can either keep the hands where they are, or maybe you bring the hands on the top of the knees. You're going to make a little circle in one direction, relaxing through the back and finding a massage for the lower back. And then when you're ready, you can reverse the direction of your circles. Sending some nice deep breaths into the low back. And then whenever you're ready, you can roll onto one side, coming into a fetal position. Allow your knees to stack. You can cradle your head onto your bicep. And just take a nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, we can press ourselves up into a seat. You can find any seat that feels comfortable. maybe crossing the legs. And this is where a blanket or a pillow could be helpful. You could always bring that underneath the sit bones to help you elevate your seat and lengthen through your spine. And once you arrive in a seat, let's go ahead and close down the eyes. Allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears. And I'm going to give you some ideas about your breath. So let's practice breathing together using what's called Ujjayi breathing. So Ujjayi breathing in yoga is the warrior breath. And it allows you to, in your everyday life, you might even be able to come back to this breath when you find that you're in times of struggle or stress. It just allows you to keep breathing. So we're going to be breathing in and out through the nose. You can allow the tongue to rest right at the edge of the teeth, the front teeth, the top teeth, and the palate. So allow your tongue to gently rest there. And then you're going to have a slight constriction in the throat, imagining you were like fogging up a mirror. And we're going to breathe in and out through the nose. So as you inhale, feel the belly fill up with breath, feel the mid belly and the chest. This is belly breathing. And then as you exhale, there's that fogging up sensation, and you might even hear the sound, almost like the wave of an ocean. So you're slightly constricting, allowing for the breath to elongate. Let's take 3 more Ujjayi breaths just like that. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose with that slight constriction. Listening for the sound of your breath. Filling up the belly. And then after your 3rd round, you can gently flutter the eyes open. And then anytime during your practice today that you feel, you might be disconnected from your practice or finding that your thoughts are wandering, you might just invite yourself to come back to your breath and listen for the sound of your breath. Okay, with your next exhale, we'll begin to tuck our chin towards our chest. And then with the next inhale, you can slide your right ear over towards your right shoulder. So you're going to find a nice stretch through the side of your left neck. Allow the left shoulder to melt away from the left ear. And then if you'd like, you can find a little bit of movement here. Maybe beginning to nod the head yes. Imagining you're able to invite in new opportunities. And then gently come back to center, and we'll shake the head no. Imagining you could release that which does not serve you. And then we'll come back to center. And if you'd like, you can invite a little bit of massage along the left side of the neck. So you can bring your right hand up and just gently massage along the left side from the ear all the way down to the shoulder maybe. And I had mentioned in the list of props, if you wanted to, you could bring an essential oil. Maybe that would help with your little bit of self-massage here. And then when you're ready, you can release that right hand back into your lap. And it's okay, by the way, to take your time and work at your own pace and not be exactly where I am. With your next exhale, we'll bring the chin back towards the chest once more. And then with your next inhale, you can slide the right ear over towards the right shoulder, or sorry, the left ear towards the left shoulder. And we'll allow for a stretch through the right side of the neck, all along the neck, down towards the shoulder. And once more, you might nod the head yes, inviting in new opportunities. What sort of things do you want to say yes to? And shake your head no, releasing that which does not serve you. And if you'd like to do that little bit of self-massage when you're ready, you can come back to stillness, and you might reach your left hand up and just gently massage along the right side of your neck. Allowing the breath to release any tension from the neck, any holding. And if you have any essential oils that you'd like to use, you're welcome to dab a little bit on, massage that in. And when you're ready, you can release that massage. And once more, allow the chin to trace the front of the chest, coming back to center, bowing the head towards the heart. And then on the next inhale, we'll lift the gaze back up to center. Let's go ahead and reverse the cross of your legs. So in yoga, we might even start to notice what are our habitual patterns. We might kind of try to balance that out. So then let's bring our hands to our heart center, and you can interlace the fingers, press the palms forward as you round the spine back. And then we'll inhale, lift the spine up tall, grow the arms up overhead, and then you can release the right hand down to the ground and either prop it up on a block or press it down onto the mat. And you can shine the left arm up overhead, maybe lifting the gaze up towards the fingertips. Take a nice deep breath here. And on your next exhale, you can allow these fingers to melt down towards the ground and out in front. And then we'll inhale to circle sweep the arm up and overhead. Exhale to rainbow it down towards the ground. Inhale to sweep it back up. And one more time, just like this. And then on your next inhale, we'll rise to center, bringing both hands up overhead. This time we'll land the left hand down onto your mat or the ground and rainbow the right hand up overhead. So you're finding a nice side bend through the right side. You might lift the gaze up towards the fingertips if that feels okay for the neck. And then with your next exhale, you can allow the right fingertips to rain down towards the ground. And then inhale to circle sweep the arm up and over. Go ahead and find 2 more rounds just like this, following the pace of your own breath. You might follow the fingertips with your gaze if that feels like a good stretch for the neck. After that last round, we'll inhale to rise back up to center. And then you can interlace the fingers, press the palms up towards the sky. And on the next exhale, allow the hands to slowly cascade down in front. Just noticing the movements of your shoulders, sending breath into the shoulders. Once your hands arrive in your lap, you can bring the hands onto the knees, and then we'll inhale to roll the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale to allow them to cascade down and back. Go ahead and take a few more shoulder rolls at your own pace. If it feels good, you might start to alternate one shoulder at a time. Continuing that Ujjayi breath in and out through the nose. When you're ready, go ahead and reverse the direction of your shoulder rolls, bringing the shoulders up from behind and cascading them down in front. And then we'll begin to sync up that movement again. So draw the shoulder blades to kiss at your back. Allow the shoulders to roll up towards the ears, and exhale, allow them to cascade down in front. So just 2 more rounds like this. And then when you're ready, we'll meet back in center. And you can extend the feet out wide to the sides. We're going to do a little bit with the wrists. So go ahead and bring the fingers so they're pointing down towards the ground. And then you can press the back of the palms onto the earth, finding some lengthening through the back of the forearms. You might begin to make a little fist, rolling the fingers up into a ball. So you have a fist on the ground, and then exhale to open the fingers up wide. I realize I'm a little bit too far forward, so you probably can't see what I'm doing. So I'm going to scoot myself back. So you're just, your feet are out wide so that you have some space for your hands. So maybe you can see better now. So my back of the hands are on the mat, finding length in the forearms, and then go ahead and bring the hands into fists, and then exhale to release the fingers. Whenever you're ready, you can peel the hands up off the mat and then give them a gentle shake. And then we'll bring the hands to interlace, the fingers to interlace, and start to draw a few figure eights with the wrists. Just warming up through the wrists, getting ready for hands and knees. And then whenever you're ready, you can release those fingers, give them a nice gentle shake. And we're going to be coming onto hands and knees for tabletop. So it can be helpful if you have a blanket or something to help pad the knees. So I like to bring a blanket underneath the knees. You can bring the knees underneath the hips, plant the hands underneath the shoulders, and then with your next inhale, drop the belly, lift the heart forward for cow pose. Exhale, we'll round the spine, drawing the belly towards the spine into cat. Go ahead and take a few rounds of cat and cow, inhaling for cow, exhaling for cat. Just go ahead and take it at your own pace. You could feel free if your wrists are sensitive, you could come onto fists. Or if you have blocks, you can always bring your forearms onto blocks to take any pressure off of the wrists. After a few rounds of cat and cow, you might begin to explore other movements. Maybe drawing a big circle with the belly button. Imagining you are tracing the inside of a hula hoop. If you find any places that feel particularly good or need special attention, you could even hold that place for a breath. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and reverse the direction of your circle. We'll take one more nice deep breath like this. And then we're going to get ready for child's pose. So if you have blocks underneath your forearms, you might set them aside. We'll walk the big toes to touch, open the knees up wide, sink the hips back, and then walk the hands out in front, lowering the forehead down towards the mat for child's pose. Take a nice deep breath in your child's pose. And if you'd like, you could exhale, sticking out the tongue, exhaling through the mouth for lion's breath. Releasing any tension from the temples or the jaw. If that felt good, you might take 2 more rounds of lion's breath, sticking out the tongue. As you're resting in your child's pose, you might just allow any tension from the back and the shoulders to melt down towards the ground. Imagining that which does not serve you is simultaneously able to nourish the earth. Take one more nice deep breath in your child's pose. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to make our way back to hands and knees, but keeping the knees wide. We're going to come into what's called thread the needle. So you can plant the right palm, and then with your next inhale, rotate the left arm open. Maybe gazing up towards the sky. And then on the next exhale, we'll float that left arm underneath the body and allow yourself to land on your left shoulder. So your left temple is resting on the mat. You might send your gaze underneath your right armpit or thread the needle. And you could stay right here and thread the needle with the right palm supporting some of your weight. Or if you'd like, you could walk the right hand out in front of you like child's pose. Or maybe even spin the right hand around and let the right palm rest on the low back. Just find whatever works for you. Neither option is superior to the other. It's just allowing yourself to explore all of the different options. What feels right for you today in your body? We'll take one more nice deep breath and thread the needle. And then wherever your right hand is, go ahead and land it underneath your shoulder. And you can press into the right palm as you open up the left side, lifting the left arm back up towards the sky. On the next exhale, we'll land the left hand and then inhale the right arm open. Exhale to thread the needle under. Allowing your right temple to rest. And you can find whatever variation works for your left hand, either continuing to support your weight or maybe walking the left fingertips out in front like child's pose.
Or you might spin that hand around and allow the hand to rest at the low back. Take a nice deep breath here. Allow yourself to settle in. You might just observe the sensations in your body with curiosity and compassion. And then whenever you're ready, we'll return that left palm underneath the shoulder. You can begin to press into the left hand as you open up through the right side. And exhale to release the left hand back down to the mat. Let's walk the knees back in underneath the hips. And then we're going to come onto our forearms from here. You can slide the left leg back, tucking the toes under. Find a nice deep stretch through the back of the left leg. So you're pressing your heel towards the mat, lengthening through the back of the calf. If this feels better on your palms, you can take either variation, but I thought it might be nice to give the wrists a little bit of a break. So this is one option. Imagine the breath like the wave of an ocean is able to smooth down the back of the left leg. And then when you're ready, we'll return that left knee underneath the hip, and this time extend the right leg back, tucking the toes under, pressing the heel towards the mat, lengthening through the back of the leg. Finding length. Maybe a nice gentle stretch through the back of the calf. And then when you're ready, we'll return the right knee. And then we're going to come up to our tabletop. Let's tuck both toes under, and you can start to walk your hands back. This is where blocks could also be helpful. We're going to come into what's called broken toe pose. And that's a nice stretch through the undersides of the feet. It can be a little bit intense, but you can always make it gentler by keeping your hands and some of your weight off of your heels. But you can also make the stretch more intense if you want to come to sit on the heels. So find what works for you, just allowing your breath and your attention to come to the undersides of the feet. And while you're here, take a moment to offer the feet gratitude for all the places they take us. Whenever you're ready, we'll walk the hands forward onto the mat or onto blocks. And then you can untuck the toes and give them a gentle tap. From here, we'll walk our hands over to the right, and we're going to step the left foot forward. So you're going to come into a low lunge. You can bring your hands onto your left knee and maybe sink the hips a little bit forward to find a stretch through the front of the right hip. You can keep your hands on your knee, or you could bring your hands to your hips, or you might even float your hands up overhead. Take a nice deep breath, lifting the heart, maybe lifting the gaze up towards the sky. And if your hands are lifted, we're going to bring the hands out in front so they're coming parallel to the ground. And then you can slide your left arm open for a twist. If your hands are on your knee, you could walk your hands over towards your
the left side of your thigh and just hold on, twisting your torso towards the left. Take a nice deep breath here, and then when you're ready, on your next exhale, you can release the twist. If your hands are open, we'll slide them back up towards the sky. And then on your next exhale, you can lower the hands back down. We'll bring the hands to the inside of the left leg, and then we'll step that left knee back to meet the right. You can take a moment to pause either in this hero's pose, sitting on your heels, or maybe take a child's pose if you'd like to rest in between sides. If you're taking child's pose, your knees will be wide, your feet might be, your toes might touch, and you can sink the hips back, walk the hands out in front, and lower the forehead to the mat. Take a moment to notice any sensations, maybe variations from left to right. And then whenever you're ready, we'll come back up to hands and knees. And we can walk our hands over towards the left this time and step the right foot forward. In fact, I'm going to do this facing the other way so you can see me when I do the twist. So this time our right foot is forward. You can walk the hands up onto your right thigh. And maybe you lean a little bit forward, just finding a stretch through the front of the left hip, that hip flexor. If you'd like, you can bring your hands to your hips or leave them on the knee, or maybe float them up overhead, lifting the heart and maybe lifting the gaze. And then we're going to take that twist this time on the right. So you can lower the hands down in front, and then imagine you're sliding the right hand back, like opening up a bow for a bow and arrow. If your hands are on your knees, for more stability, you can bring the hands to the outer right thigh for a little bit of traction, allowing yourself to twist to the right, maybe sending the gaze behind the right shoulder. If your hands are extended out wide to the side, we'll twist it back, forward, reaching the arms up overhead. And then on your next exhale, you can bring the hands down to the inside of your right foot. And we'll walk that right foot back to meet the left, coming onto the knees. You can either rest here in what's called hero's pose, sitting on the heels if that feels good, or you might take a rest in child's pose. Wherever you land, take a nice deep breath. And then we'll come onto hands and knees. So we'll meet back up in tabletop. We're going to explore downward facing dog. So you can tuck the toes under and lift the hips up and back, lengthening through the spine, lengthening through the arms. And you might start to pedal the heels towards the mat. You can always skip downward facing dog if it's not where it's at for you today, by either resting in hands and knees or child's pose. And if you did have blocks, that could be helpful for downward dog as well. On the low setting, you could have the back of the heel of the hand on the edge of the block and can give you a little bit more space.
In your downward facing dog, if this is where you're at, we're going to meet in a forward fold. So if you're someplace else, you can always make your way to forward fold, walking your hands towards your feet or your feet towards your hands. And then you might even widen the feet, your stance, so that you have room for your belly if you need that, if you need more space. You can wrap your hands around your opposite elbows and allow yourself to ragdoll here, swaying side to side. You might take a moment to shake your head no and nod your head yes. And then we'll release the hands towards the mat. You can bring your hands onto blocks or press them against your shins. And we'll inhale for halfway lift, lengthening the spine, reaching the crown of the head forward. Exhale to forward fold. And then go ahead and bend into your knees generously and roll your spine up one vertebrae at a time. And then we'll inhale to reach the arms up overhead and exhale to draw them to the heart center. Let's inhale to reach the arms up overhead. Exhale to draw them to the heart center. And one more time. Inhale to reach and exhale to release. Take a moment in your standing pose, mountain pose, to revisit your intention for your practice today. And then when you're ready, we'll move the blanket off to the side. So if you have the blanket for your knees, you can just set it off to the side. We don't need it right now. Let's reach the arms out wide to the sides, and then you can roll your fingers into fists, point the knuckles forward, and let's inhale to reach the knuckles up towards the sky. Exhale to rotate them down towards the ground. Inhale to reach them up and exhale to roll them down. One more time, just like that. And then you can release the fists, opening the fingers up wide to the side. With the next exhale, we'll wrap the right hand over the top of the left, and you can give yourself a nice big hug. Walking your fingertips onto your shoulder blades. Allow the back of the spine and the shoulder blades to open, sending breath to the back body. Sending yourself gratitude for showing up for your practice today. Take a few nice deep breaths here. And when you're ready, we can release the hands back open. We're going to take that same hug on the opposite side. So bringing the left arm this time over the top of the right. Give yourself a nice big hug. Allow the breath to open through the back of the body, stretching through the shoulders. And then when you're ready, you can release that, opening the arms back up towards the sides, and then we'll allow the hands to come down towards the sides with the palms face open. On your next inhale, you can sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale to swan dive forward. Inhale here for halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold. From here, we're going to plant the palms either on your blocks on low settings or on the mat. And you can walk the feet back For downward facing dog, feel free to also take tabletop if that's more comfortable for you. When you're ready, actually, we're all going to lower our knees down for tabletop. And let's come onto forearms in our tabletop. And you can either grasp your hands in, interlace your fingers, or press your palms onto the mat. Let's slide the left leg back and then the right leg back to come into a plank. You can also lower onto your knees here for a little more support. And while you're in your plank, you might ponder all of the things in your life you can feel grateful for. Notice what exhausts first. Your ability to maintain your plank, or all of the things in your life you're grateful for. And then whenever you're ready, you can gently lower down onto your belly. We'll untuck the toes and slide the legs back. So the tops of the legs are on the mat and the tops of the toes are on the mat. And then you can keep your elbows underneath your elbows underneath your shoulders. Press the palms onto the mat for Sphinx pose. So you're allowing the heart to glow forward as you energetically drag the palms back. This is a gentle back bend. You might roll the shoulders up towards the ears and exhale, allow them to slide down the back. Inhale to roll them up once more, and exhale to slide the shoulder blades back down. If that feels good, you might take one more round like that. And then on your next exhale, we're going to release the Sphinx pose, coming into crocodile, Makrasana. So you can stack the palms and lower the forehead. Allow the forehead to rest on the back of the palms. You can soften all of your effort, checking in with your breath. Feel free to take a sigh out the mouth, maybe for lion's breath. And then when you're ready, we can slide the hands behind us with the palms face up. This time, turn your gaze to the right, and you can allow the left temple to rest towards the mat. If your temple doesn't quite reach, you can tuck the toes under and slide your body a little bit further forward so that your temple might reach the mat, or you could always bring a block underneath the head. Allow yourself a moment to delight in this time of rest, softening all of your effort, allowing for ease and feeling the temple against the ground. Might feel like a nice release if you find any tension there, and maybe a soft stretch through the neck. On the next inhale, we're going to come into locust pose. So you can float the gaze forward, float the arms and legs up to hover, using the strength of your spine. Imagine you're flying over the earth like a flying superhero. And with the next exhale, go ahead and turn your gaze to the left and soften all of your effort, bringing your right temple to the mat. Allow yourself to release all effort. And you might find that gentle stretch through the neck, sending breath to any areas of tension. We're going to come into a bit of a twist. So if you have anything next to you, go ahead and move it out of the way. And then we're going to open the arms out into a letter T shape. So your arms are flying or, resting at your sides. And then when you're ready, you can walk your left hand behind you as you roll onto your left side. So I need a little bit more space here. So you're opening through the chest, opening through the shoulder, and allowing the legs to stack here. You can use your right hand for leverage and press into the earth. And you can flex the toes a bit towards the knees to activate the legs. You can stay right here, or if you feel you'd like to deepen this twist, you might bend into the left knee and that's the right knee, and then place the right foot behind the left leg. If that option isn't working for you, just feel free to leave the legs stacked. And one more option that I like is to bend the right knee and reach down with the right hand to grasp hold of the right ankle. And this could be a nice quad stretch. But once more, if the chest opening here is enough, you might just leave the legs stacked. If you're in that bind, holding on to the foot, go ahead and gently release the foot, bringing both the legs to stack. Let's roll onto the belly now, and we'll creep the right hand behind us as you roll onto the right side. Allow the legs to stack and the temple to rest. And you could find another variation here if you'd like. You could bend the left leg or the left knee and place the left foot behind you. Or you might grasp hold of the left ankle with the left hand and allow the left knee to soften towards the right knee. Feel free to find any variation that works best for you. And when you're ready, you can release this side. We'll roll back onto the belly. Plant the palms underneath the shoulders. You can tuck the toes under and press up either through table or plank. And find either child's pose or downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in any variation that you chose, downward dog or child's pose. And then we'll come back and meet up in tabletop. You can walk your knees forward in your tabletop to come to sit on your sit bones. And then we'll bring the legs into a deer pose shape, or like a pinwheel shape. So your left knee is forward, your right knee is next to your left foot. And then let's go ahead and reach the the left arm behind us, float the right arm up and back. And then we're going to float the right arm forward as you lift the knees up and over to come over to the other side. Plant the right hand behind you and reach the left arm up and over. Go ahead and exhale, coming back to center. Rotate the knees over to the left. Plant the left hand. And if you'd like this time, you can reach the right hand up and you might lift the hips, pressing into that left hand for support. Take a nice deep breath here, and on the next exhale, lower the hips, rotate the knees over to the right, plant the right hand, inhale, reach the left hand up and over, and you might lift the hips. On your next exhale, we'll lower the hips back down, and then let's come back to center with the knees facing up. You can bring the knees to the sides and the feet to touch for butterfly pose. And this could also be a helpful place to use a blanket underneath the seat to help lift the spine. Let's inhale to grow taller through our spine, and then exhale, begin to hinge at the hips as you reach the heart forward. Maybe if you have some blocks, you want to rest the blocks on the feet to make a little pillow to rest your forehead, or you can just plant your palms on the mat or on your feet and allow yourself to round forward. Take a nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, you can press yourself up, walking your hands in, and we can move the blanket off to the side. Now, I had suggested if you wanted to bring a tennis ball, some of you have that. If you don't have one, I'll offer some other poses that you can choose from. But I really love to use the tennis ball for self-massage on the back and on the feet if you were standing. So on your back, we're using it to massage that place in between your shoulder blade and your spine. So you can come to lying on your back in the constructive rest pose and then roll over to the left, bringing the ball underneath the right shoulder, in between the shoulder blade and the spine. And then you can take a moment to just either allow yourself to sink in, soften into the ball. Maybe you might begin to roll onto that ball, just feeling any areas of tension that you might like to explore releasing. And if you don't have a ball and don't want to do this self-massage on the back, I would offer you legs up the wall. So if you have a wall space or a couch you can rest your legs on, that's going to be a nice pose for reversing the flow of gravity. So this is kind of like a yogi's choice. Choose your own adventure. If there are any other poses that are calling to you that you'd like to explore in the last few moments of class before our final rest, you're welcome to explore those shapes now. Once you feel complete massaging on the right shoulder, you might reach up and remove the ball and then roll over to your right side, adjusting and placing the ball in between your left shoulder blade and your spine. And then just take a moment to massage on this side. And if you don't have a tennis ball, I recommend getting one. So you can use this to give yourself some special attention into your back. Another way I like to use the ball is when I'm standing to step on the ball and massage on the bottom of the foot. But there's lots of different options, so feel free to explore whatever feels good to you. Once you feel complete with the ball, you can set it off to the side. And then if you have a wall space handy, or a chair or a couch, maybe even the edge of your bed, I'm going to suggest legs up the wall. So to do this, we're going to move our hips close to the object that you're going to be extending your legs up. So I like to get my hips right up to touching the couch. And then you can turn your body so that your legs are up on the couch cushion or maybe extending straight up the wall. And this is a great gentle inversion to help move the circulation in the opposite direction. We can also do a figure 4 pose at the wall to stretch through the outer hips. So you can bring your left ankle onto your right thigh, crossing the legs, and maybe you, if you want to deepen the sensation, you can bring the right heel to the edge of the couch, or you can even slide it down the wall so that you're getting a nice stretch through the outer left hip. Take some nice deep breaths here, allowing the back to feel fully supported. And if you don't have a wall space or any chair or couch cushions to use, you can also just do this on your mat on your back. Maybe holding on to the back of your right thigh. I really enjoy doing this with support so that the upper body can fully relax and not have to hold on to anything. Take a nice deep breath here. And whenever you're ready, you can allow yourself to switch sides, maybe coming back to center for a breath, and then bringing the right ankle over the left thigh, maybe walking that left foot out to find a deeper stretch through the outer right hip. Allow yourself to soften, noticing where you can relax your effort. Take as long as you'd like in this figure 4 shape. And then for your final resting pose, you're welcome to continue to rest your legs up the wall, or maybe on a couch. Or maybe you'd like to take your final rest in Savasana, corpse pose, lying flat on your back. You can feel free to use any props that would feel helpful in your final resting pose. Allowing your forehead to soften, relaxing the eyelids, softening the hinge of the jaw.
And allowing the shoulders to melt down into the ground. You might revisit your sandy beach or your grassy meadow. And just notice where your body is making contact with the earth. Feel the earth rise to support you in all your endeavors. Imagine the unique impression that your body is making on the earth. You might take a moment to revisit your intention for your practice. And I'll offer a few more words about Santosha, contentment, the second of the niyamas, from the book The Path of the Yoga Sutras by Nikolai Bachman. If we cultivate gratitude, even when we are content, we strengthen that attitude in our heart mind, like amending its soil. And we make gratitude easier to access when needed. Gratefulness does for our heart mind what food does for our bodies. It nourishes our heart mind and creates a sense of fulfillment. Slowing down, stepping back, and appreciating the little things in life creates inner happiness. Gratefulness is feeling great and full of joy with who we are and what we have. There will always be people with more and fewer possessions than us. Knowing that everyone shares the same divine inner light of awareness can shift our attention away from external material assets and towards the cultivation of our own inner happiness. You might take a moment to ponder all that you are grateful for, such as your health, friends, community, and life. And then you can allow all thoughts to dissipate. Imagining your thoughts are like clouds floating up overhead. You can acknowledge their beauty. Without attachment, allow them to pass by. Feel yourself hugged by the weight of gravity. And just allow yourself this time of rest. You can begin to deepen your breath. And just with each inhale, imagine your heart center is able to expand in all directions. You might come back to that seed of intention, allowing that glowing orb to glow throughout your body. And then gently begin to invite some movements into your fingers and toes, gently rotating your wrists and your ankles. You might extend your arms overhead and find a long body stretch from the fingertips all the way to the heels. And then whenever you're ready, you could draw your knees towards your chest and roll onto one side, coming into a fetal position, giving yourself a moment to rest there. Whenever you're ready, you can use the strength of your hands to press yourself up into a seat. Once you arrive in your seated position, you can inhale to sweep your arms up and overhead, and then draw your hands to your heart center, allowing your head to bow towards the wisdom of your loving heart. It's such an honor and a privilege to have this opportunity to guide you through your practice. Thank you all so much for being here today. Namaste.
Thank you, Micki.
Thank you so much for being here. I will stop the recording, and if you guys have any questions or thoughts about class, you're welcome to ask them.